The recent update in Black Ops 6 buffed all the SMGs, making them so much better, but it completely swapped up the meta, so I have for you today the new top 5 meta SMGs with the best classes. With the first weapon being an honorable mention of the Compact 92. This is one of the more difficult weapons to use, but also one of the, if not the fastest killing SMG, as long as you're in that effective damage range. But as you guys can see, there is a little bit of recoil, but like still very controllable to where this weapon is one of the better guns in the game, and you should definitely level it up. This is one of my favorite rushing weapons, and we just got a brand new attachment for it. This is the integrated suppressed barrel. This is going to build in a suppressor, so now you're going to be off the radar. It's also going to increase that damage range and the bullet velocity, making it so that effective damage range of where it's really strong and a little bit farther. And then for the underbarrel, we are going to be using the vertical foregrip. This is going to be the best underbarrel if you want to maximize recoil control. If you're warmed up with the gun, you can get away with the ranger foregrip, especially on these smaller maps, but the weapon is going to be pretty bouncy. Now, since the fire rate is very fast, we are going to be using the extended mag too, although this is a little bit OD. You don't need this much ammo, and this is going to hurt the ADS speed, the sprint to fire speed, and you're going to reload a little bit slower. It's just so enjoyable to just spam out so many bullets with this. I think most of you guys will probably like the extended mag 1, but definitely try out the extended mag 2. Now, to bring up some of the cons of that magazine and just make the weapon a whole lot better for rushing, we are going to be using the ergonomic grip. That's going to cut the slide to fire speed in half. In this game, there's a delay when you jump fire, when you jump ADS, when you dive, when you slide, there's always a delay. This is going to cut down the slide to fire delay and that dive to fire delay, as well as making the weapon a little bit snappier. For the last attachment, we are going to be rocking the recoil springs. This is going to increase that horizontal, the vertical, and the overall gun kick recoil control. Now, the recoil springs don't do that much for the weapon, but you guys can see there's so much recoil to where I honestly would really want that extra 6% for the recoil gun kick, and then we get 5% for the horizontal and the vertical. It just says 29% because that's a lot of that comes from the vertical foregrip. This is going to be my favorite 5 attachment Compact 92. Now, we are going to be going over a gunfighter build, the 8 attachment build for every single SMG on this list. Now, for the stock, I do recommend you guys to use the no stock. This weapon, I'm always in the enemy's face playing very aggressive. This allows you to hip fire strafe a little bit faster, and you can walk a little bit faster. And then so we cannot run a muzzle, so we can't get the extra recoil control. But then we are going to be going over to the laser, and we are going to be adding the fast motion laser. Again, I'm hip firing a lot with this weapon. I'm in the enemy's face, putting it up their arse, and so this makes it a little bit easier, or it makes it more consistent to hit those shots, since the hip fire actually is going to be a lot tighter when you do slide and jump around the map. This is a very good aggressive build. A lot of people actually use overkill and use this as their secondary, kind of like a pistol. And then I really like the iron sights. Reminds me of the Kuda from Black Ops 3, but you might want to use an optic. I recommend the Kepler, but it doesn't really matter. Use whichever one you want. This is going to be my favorite gunfighter Compact 92. And another thing that you could do is actually add the long barrel and then add the compensator. Now you have one that's maximized that recoil control while also having a lot of damage range. It's just I prefer the one with the built-in suppressor, so the enemies don't really know where we're at. This next gun, the first gun on the list, is going to be the PP919. I got the best PP loadout on the market. You guys can see we're off the radar. We got that good damage range and absolutely no recoil. For the fire mods, we are using the recoil springs. You can use the rapid fire if you're on like the smaller maps, or maybe you're very warmed up with the weapon and like you don't need the recoil springs. Definitely use the rapid fire because it is going to increase that rate of fire by about 9%, I believe. Actually 12%, so you can kill the enemies a whole lot faster, and that's one thing that this weapon lacks in is that fire rates. So then rapid fire does feel good, but I'm going for a very consistent, easy to use build, so I'm going to use the recoil springs. Same with the balanced stock. This is going to increase all sorts of strafing speed. So in this game, there's different types of strafe speed like that the attachments give you. You can hip fire strafe, ADS strafe, forward, backward, left, right. There's a little bit of different types. The balance basically boosts all of those. Now for the rear grip, we are going to be using the ergonomic grip to again increase that slide to fire, that dive to fire speed, as well as increase the ADS speed, making the weapon a little bit snappier. Let me show you guys real quick. So our slide to fire delay now is 100, or not delay, but the speed is 150 seconds, and before it was 300. And so the ergonomic is definitely a must if you do any type of sliding in the game. Now the damage range on the gun is already pretty good. It has a better damage range than most of the SMGs of 18.4 meters. So I was like, what if we add the short barrel, which the short barrel is going to reduce that jump ADS speed. So it basically makes it so you can jump ADS faster, since in this game, when you do jump ADS, it does slow you down. And then it's also going to reduce the jumping sprint to fire speed. Typically, these attachments reduce the delay by 50%. So I'm assuming it reduces that by 50%. Or I guess, you see 2 arrows right here. So maybe your jumping ADS speed is going to be 50% faster, and then your jumping sprint to fire speed is going to be like probably 15% faster. Around there, it doesn't actually tell us that. So, I always have to make assumptions and kind of base it off other attachments. And, you know, I've learned a lot from Exclusive Ace. Definitely check that guy out. Suppressor, very good attachment, keeps you off the radar. This is going to be my favorite 5 attachment PP919. Now, for the 8 attachment build, you can make this thing very, very good. So for the magazine, we are going to be adding the fast mag. This is just going to make it so your ADS speed, your sprint to fire, and your reload quickness is a little bit faster. This gun has a little bit of a slower mobility, so this really does help that out. Yes, we are losing ammo, but it's only about 14 rounds, and you should be fine with 50. Another one I really like is the fast mag 2. This one does lower the mag size to 40, but you have such a faster ADS speed, reload quickness, and sprint to fire speed, where I really do like that. I just think most of you guys will like the fast mag. And then we are going to be going over to the laser, and we are going to be adding the Strelok laser. I really like this one because it's going to basically give us 100% accuracy before we're even fully ADS. As you guys can see, it is pretty broken. And now with this barrel, you can like jump around corners with 100% accuracy like instantly, because if we don't run the barrel, there's going to be a delay, but now there's no delay. So the second we have the 100% accuracy in the air, you can start firing. It's a little bit difficult to take advantage of, but it is very enjoyable and kind of overpowered once you're used to it. Then I like the iron sights, but you might want to use the optics. So there's going to be the best gunfighter build. Remember what you can do. You can take off the recoil springs, add the rapid fire. Just know it is going to lower that damage range. So you might want to go over to the barrel and add the reinforced barrel. By the way, if you're stressing about camos or simply just don't have time for them, check out my long-term sponsor Guapsi. They will legitimately play in your account to hard unlock whatever you please. They can do the camos to the gun levels, and this goes for zombies, Warzone, and multiplayer. They don't use an unlock tool, and this doesn't break 2S, so there is no risk of being banned, and no one has before. So if you want to save your time and energy, go to the top link in my description and check out guapsi.com. Now for the next gun on this list, this is going to be the C9, and the C9 I'm using is the Teddy Liar blueprint. You get this for, I think, after Prestige 2 or like Prestige 1 level 50, you unlock this blueprint. Gives you like these Tommy gun iron sights, and honestly they're a little bit smoother than the default C9 MP5 ones, and so definitely recommend those. So for this build, we are rocking the long barrel, making it so the damage fall off isn't as drastic. The buff that all the SMGs got recently was a damage range buff, and so now this thing's gonna be able to even compete more with the ARs. For the muzzle, we are going to be using the suppressor, keeping us off the radar. This gun does have a lot of horizontal recoil. That's the biggest downside of the C9. It has a crazy side-to-side bounce. This is going to eliminate that. Ranger foregrip's also good if you're used to the gun, but it's just the gun's so much more consistent with the vertical. For the magazine, we are going to be using the extended mag 1, although you could take that off and then rock the infiltrator stock, and it feels like an OG MP5 just because you have like insane strafe speed. Like this increases your ADS strafe speed like insane. Not too much your hip fire, but like this way you strafe very fast, gives you that rotational aim assist, makes you super hard target to hit. And then lastly, again, we got the ergonomic grip, and so this is going to be like statistically one of the best 5 attachment builds. And then if you do need extra ammo, I would rock this thing right there. Now for the 8 attachment build, this one is going to be a little bit different. I can't fully remember the build. Okay, this one so underrated. So for the barrel, we got the short barrel, same reasons as you know, for the PP919. Suppressor's keeping us off the radar. Under barrel is going to be the Ranger, and we can get away with the Ranger because we have the recoil springs, which give us actually a decent amount of recoil control. We get 10% for the recoil gun kick, horizontal, and the vertical, and so now we can move around the map faster with the Ranger because it increases that sprinting movement speed as well as that tack sprint speed. And then the magazine makes it so we don't have to reload as often. This gun, I really like to hip fire with this build for some reason. Just I think it's because of the short barrel, so you're playing aggressive. So the no stock definitely helps out with that. Fast motion laser, so then you have 100% accuracy, or basically, you know, you're sliding around and you're hitting a lot of your shots. And then ergonomic. This is a phenomenal 8 attachment C9 build. Probably my favorite SMG in the game. That thing is so easy to use. Now for the next gun on this list, this is going to be the SOG. The SOG, very, very good. It got banned from ranked play just because of how good it is. Definitely use this build. Doesn't have the best damage range, so we have the long barrel on there. Suppressors to keep us off the radar. A lot of time, I will always use a suppressor if I don't really need the extra recoil controls, since just being off the radar makes it actually so much easier to streak up. For the underbarrel, since there isn't that much recoil in the weapon, we are going to be using the Ranger foregrip, allowing us to move around faster and gives us that recoil control. Plus, we are going to be tying that in with the recoil springs, which, as you can see, the recoil springs give us 2 arrows, so then it's going to give us about 10% for both of them, and that's just going to eliminate all the recoil, allowing you to actually use the weapon across the map. And then just so you can use the weapon up close, we do have the ergonomic grip, and I will give you guys another bonus 5 attachment build real quick, but you guys can see there is no recoil. It is so unbelievably consistent, but you could add the vertical foregrip and then go over to the stock and then add the light stock on there. This is going to be very good for those like extra aggressive play styles while also having good recoil control. But I just like the other one a little bit more, but you know, you guys might like this 5 attachment one more. For the 8 attachment build, to stay on topic, we are going to be going over adding the recoil springs, Ranger, magazine. You don't really need a magazine on this gun. It just kills so fast that you don't even need to shoot out that many bullets, and I really like the flip mag, but I think most of you guys will like the extended mag. mag. For the stock, again, we are using that light stock, and then we are gonna, for the laser, let's use the fast motion laser. With all that said, here's the 8 attachment SOG build. Let me know in the comments your favorite build so far. For me, it's got to be that C9, but I'm kind of curious what you guys are rocking. Now, this next gun is going to be the Tanso .22. Insane gun, but if you're not used to it, you're going to do really bad and you're not going to like it. So you really do need to warm up with it. And then the build that we are going over after this is going to be the best SMG in the entire game. Phenomenal. This one is super good at long range, probably the best SMG at long range. It just hits like super hard. It's like an AR in an SMG body. Now, to make it just a little bit stronger, we are going to be using the reinforced barrel. This is going to increase that damage range as well as the bolt velocity. The bolt velocity on the gun's already pretty good, so you could get away with the long barrel. And so now our effective damage range is going to be 10.4 meters, which isn't that good, but like keep in mind, you're getting a 3-shot kill up to 10 meters, which is kind of crazy. It's just the fire rate is really slow, and so that's why we got the rapid fire on there to make it so now it's like if you miss any shots, it's going to be a little bit more forgiving, and it's going to kill the enemies a whole lot faster, about 12% faster. So now you have a rate of fire of about 500 RPM, and you're killing the enemies in 3 shots up to 10 meters. That is kind of OP, and that's why it's not allowed in rank play. Now, the reinforce I'm using because I don't want to have to lead my shots as much. It's just like sometimes if you have a low bolt velocity, it's just that hit registration is not going to be that good. So that's why I don't really care for the long barrel, but you know, you might want the long barrel. For me though, reinforced. Next attachment, we're using the Ranger foregrip, allowing us to move around faster. It's going to add a lot of recoil control. That's why we have the porta compensator on here. I try to use a suppressor, and the gun's just not that consistent. Like when you get to medium range, it is really difficult to use, and so the ported's definitely going to be the better option. And then the compensator is better if you spam out a lot of shots. It gives you like overall more recoil control, but the ported, if you can kill the enemies within the first few shots, the ported is going to give you less recoil, making it actually easier to hit those shots. And since its gun kills in 3 shots, should be fine with that ported. And then ergonomic grip, again, just making the weapon more viable up close. Kind of a crutch attachment. I wish it wasn't. I hope they do an update for that. That's the 8 attachment build. Now we're going to be going over the 5 attachment. I mean, that's the 5 attachment, now the 8 attachment. We're going to be using the flip mag on here. Since the fire rate's a little bit slower, you're not going to be going through ammo too fast. It's going to be more beneficial to be able to reload a little bit faster, since a lot of time when I die is when I'm reloading. So for the next attachment, we are going to be going over to the stock, and we are going to be using the combat stock. This one is going to give you a lot of strafe speed and then a lot of flinch resistance. So if the enemy does shoot at you, your screen isn't going to shake as much, and that's pretty helpful for a gun that you don't really want to miss. Like, this gun has a slower fire rate, so if you miss any shots, the time to kill drastically goes up. And if the enemies hit any shots on you and you miss, then it's just like you're killing them pretty slow. And so the combat just helps you stay on target. And then for the last attachment, completely up to you guys. I honestly really do like an optic on the gun. Even though the iron sights are clean, I do a little bit better with an optic, but also I do like to add the Strelak laser for those same reasons as before. 100% accuracy, 3-shot kill. It is so unbelievably overpowered. Now, this last gun is going to be the Jackal, which is allowed in rank play, so you're probably confused of why I'm saying it's the best gun. It's because it has the best sprint out TTK, and then also it's super consistent, so then you can easily use it at long range. That compact kills faster, but it's harder to use at long range, so then this thing will actually kill faster at long range because of how easy it is to use. That being said, we are using a suppressor to keep ourselves off the radar, but you might want to use the compensator just to give you an overall good boost to your recoil control. This will definitely make the weapon a lot easier to use, but the suppressor keeps you off the radar. And if I'm already hitting my shots and I'm warmed up, I'm definitely going to be going with that suppressor. For the barrel, since the bolt velocity is already going to be at 530 meters per second, that is basically good enough. I would like 550, but the long barrel is going to be a little bit more beneficial since the damage fall off with the SMGs is pretty crazy, but they just got a buff, so now it's just going to feel even better. For the underbarrel, we are using the Ranger foregrip. If you can't really hit your shots, you're definitely going to want to use the vertical, but for me, when I'm pretty warmed up, I can use the Ranger rear grip. Again, ergonomic grip, that's on every single build. And then we are using the balance stock, just giving us a good balance to our overall, you know, strafing speed. If the balance stock doesn't really give us like double arrows, I don't typically use it, but since it gives us double arrows, I mean, it helps out with everything by a lot. The infiltrator is so unbelievably overrated. Oh my god, the strafe speed's crazy. I love it. And then so that's the 5 attachment build. Now let's go over the 8 attachment build. We're going to go over to the magazine. We are going to be adding the fast mag. Actually, not the fast mag, because that lowers the ammo count, so let's use the extended mag. So now we don't really have to worry about reloading. Also keep in mind, this is another really good 5 attachment build if you do need the extra ammo. And then we are going to be going over to the fire mods, and we are going to be adding the overpressured rounds. So now at long range, we never need to lead our shots, it's gonna feel like we're on that really good ping. I definitely recommend the overpressured rounds on this gun. And then for the last attachment, we are going to be adding a optic, the Kepler Microflex. But if you don't mind lasers, we can add the Sturlock. And keep in mind, the enemies will never see this laser. Yes, it says that they will see it, but it's super rare. The blue lasers are super difficult to see. That red hipfire laser is a lot easier to see, and so that's the biggest downside of this one. But no one really sees the laser, so there's basically no downside of that Sturlock. This is going to be a very good 8 attachment Jackal PDW. If you guys did find this video helpful, a subscription is appreciated for yourself so you can get better at the game. If you want to watch me live, I stream on Twitch, WCBS, as well on YouTube almost every single day. Hopefully I'll see you there. Hopefully you guys enjoy the builds, and deuces.